We are on page 336. Read along with me, number 17, critical thinking. Choose scales for the coordinate plane shown so that you can graph the points j, 2, 40, k, 3, 10, l, 3, negative 40, m, negative 4, 50, and n, negative 5, negative 50. Explain why you chose the scales for each axis. All right, so here's what you need to think about on this. The x-axis is the first term. So every time we have a number, these are the x values that go on the x-axis. And you know that because you always have to go left or right. If it's positive, you go left. If it's positive, you go right. If it's negative, you go left. The second term is the y-axis. So let's go look at all the, I'm going to change that color actually. I'm going to color coordinate this. The x values go on the x-axis and the y values go on the y-axis. So let's go look at all the x values. X values are 2 and 3 and 3 and negative 4 and negative 5. So we need to choose a scale that will allow us to go from, it's a range from 2, so that'd be over 2. Negative 5 would be negative 5 on the left. So I think we could probably just go by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then these over here, I'm going to write a little bit smaller. 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Now, how about your y-axis? I'm going to rewrite these so I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, your y-axis needs to go as high as 40, or maybe even higher, down to negative 40, 50. 50 and negative 50. How can I go? I can't go by ones. If I try to go by ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't go up to 50. That doesn't make any sense. But actually, that gives me an idea. How high do I need to go up to? I need to go up to positive 50. Instead of going by ones, what could I go by? Go by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That works. Negative 10, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40, negative 50. So the first thing I can do, I guess I can write, it says choose scales. So I can choose the scales and explain why, but I also have to graph these points. Maybe I'll graph the points real quick, and then I will explain. So over 2 up 40, that's over 2 up to here. 240, that's point J. And then we've got K is over 3 up 10, that's right here. And I've got L is over 3 down 40, it's right here. Oops, I forgot to label K. And there's L. I've got M, that's negative 4 to the left and up 50. And N is negative 5 and down 50. All right, so now I'm going to explain. Let's choose scales and then explain. So I'll go ahead and choose my scales. I would go by ones on the x-axis because the numbers range from, what do they range from? Negative 5 to, I'm not going to say the numbers, I'm going to say the x values. The x values range from negative 5 to, how far do they go? Positive 3. Anything higher than that? Nope, to positive 3. I would go by tens on the y-axis because the y values range from, what do they range from? The highest one is positive 50, the lowest one is negative 50, so I'd say negative 50 to 50. You wouldn't, and the other way you could say that is you just simply wouldn't have enough space to go by ones. You can go by ones on the x-axis, but you just can't go by ones on the y-axis. All right, perfect, good job. Let's go ahead and move on to number 18. Number 18 reads, Edgar wants to plot the ordered pair 1.8 and negative 1.2 on a coordinate plane. On each axis, one grid square represents 0.1. Starting at the origin, how can Edgar find 1.8 and negative 1.2? And I don't know if I'm going to be able to help you understand this without showing you. So I'm going to go ahead and try. I'm going to pause this video, grab a piece of graph paper, and then show you how to do that. Okay. Okay, we've resumed, and now we have a piece of graph paper here, and we should be able to do this one. So here's what we need to do. We need to plot this point on a graph that's going up by these. So what that would look like might be like this. First of all, we need an origin, so we need a set of axes. So we need a x-axis, and I can move these so I don't put them in the right spot. We need a y-axis. These might not be in the right spot. Let me see. We're going to go to the right and down. Now these will be fine. Okay. So I know it's not perfectly centered there, but I'm going to call this my origin right here. And the origin is 0, 0. So what are we going by? We're going by 0.1. So I need to get this far onto the x-axis, and I'm going to count by 0.1. So this would be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1.0. So you count over 10 spots just to get to 1.0. And then how far do I have to go? I have to go to 1.8. So I have to go 8 more spots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's right here. That's 1.8. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of explain that. I'm going by 0.1. So the first line is 0.1. The second line is 0. Oh, I know. I got a better idea. I can't label all those. It's too crowded. But I could go every other. So the first one 0.1, the second one would be 0.2, then 0.3, then 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, etc. I got to get all the way out to 1.8. So, and you don't really even have to do it. It just says explain how. So, how can Edgar find this spot? Well, I think I just kind of showed you. He needs to count how many spaces to the right. It's going to be 18. He needs to count 18 spaces to the right of the origin. Now, why is it 18 spaces? Well, because we're going by 0.1s. So 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. It takes, you count 10 spaces just to get up to 1.0. And then you got to go 8 more spaces to get up to 1.8. And that's going to be way out here. So then that's the first part of my answer. What's the second part of my answer? I got to go down because it's negative. Negative 1.2. So negative 0.1, negative 0.2, negative 0.3. Just like last time, I got to go down. Watch it. It takes me, I guess I will label it. So you don't count the first, well, you do count the first one, but you don't label it. It would be negative 0.2, negative 0.4, negative 0.6, negative 0.8, negative 1.0, negative 1.2. How many spaces is that? What's 12 spaces? So the answer to the question is he needs to count 18 spaces to the right of the origin and then 12 spaces down from the origin. And it doesn't say explain, even though I did. I felt like I had to explain that in order for you to understand it. If they did ask us to graph it, we would go over to 1.8 and then down to 1.2. And I think if I counted right, it might be here or 1 off. That's going to be positive 1.8 and negative 1. It's going to be that point right there. If you're going by 1/10. Okay, good job. You are done. We're skipping the last problem of the page. We'll go to it now. On number 19, we are skipping number 19. So that means you are done with page. Right, skip for 19. You are done with page 336. Good job.